Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hot Flashes and Cool Chats. So, I started these conversations because through my work and the community that I'm building, I meet so many amazing women who are passionate about supporting women in midlife. So, this chat series is my way of introducing these awesome women to you. And I say that sometimes because it's not always women. I've got some men too, but a lot of times I'm finding women. Anyway, so I want to make sure that you're hearing their stories, you get to know them personally, and that you learn about their products, their services, and how they can be a resource for you during the season of life, just to make it a little bit easier, maybe a little bit more empowering for us. So today I've got a dear, dear friend of mine, Natalie. Her energy is infectious. She's deeply healing. She's personally supported my family in so many ways. And I always like to joke too, including my husband, who was a stressed out banker guy, I don't know, 10 years ago. And through working with you and just learning about mindset in a little bit different way, I think you changed him. I think you continuously through our friendship and our time together always support our nervous system. And that is just so needed in today's time. So I just wanted to learn a little bit more about you or let my audience know because I know a lot about you, but tell us, Natalie, a little bit about you and how you got into this work and really how you support women in midlife.
Wonderful. I'm equally excited to be here with you. And yes, we have a long, beautiful history that I am incredibly grateful for. Um, so, to answer that question, for me, it actually started about 15 years ago. I have three boys. They were little. I was working full time. My dad passed away very suddenly. And here I was running around trying to sort of do it all. My kids had some learning differences. My mom was obviously suffering the loss. I was suffering the loss. And after about a year of playing sort of like superhero, superwoman,
Mhm.
basically my system went, okay, we're done. That's it, finished. And I ended up with an autoimmune, and I had to kind of slow everything down and reassess. And all the doctors I was going to, mostly Western doctors, had different things like injectable antibiotics and just things that weren't resonating for me in terms of how I might get better.
Yeah.
And then I had a brief introduction to a woman who was doing meditation. And I remember my first meeting with her, and I remember going in there, and when she was explaining to me the benefits and of it, I remember thinking, "Oh, this would be great for my boys." And she
Yeah.
said, "When you heal yourself, you'll see a change in your boys."
Ooh, that's
And
powerful.
it was powerful and life-changing because it gave me permission for the first time, for so many reasons in my life, to really start looking at how can I take care of me.
Yeah.
And it was the first step. It started with meditation. I had already started to explore, if I'm totally honest, rather obsessively mediums because I was looking to understand death and dying, having lost my dad very suddenly. Um, I immediately took to that. I immediately understood that there was more than what was right in front of my eyes. And it felt
Yeah.
really real for me. And I'd grown up in a really somewhat of a religious home, but hadn't ever really thought about or believed in God and thought there was a lot around religion that felt a little, like there were rules and regulations, and none of it really resonated, other than, of course, the tradition and the family. But all of a sudden, I just started understanding that there was so much more than what was right in front of our eyes,
Yeah.
and um, I became a complete geek about our nervous system, which really is what brings us to today.
Yeah.
Um, really started to understand, not just spiritually, but scientifically, that we're made of energy and that our nervous system is energy and that we get to reset it and that our
Yeah.
brain is neuroplastic and we get to change our mind. We get to
Mm.
change our story.
Yeah.
Um, and that was life changing for me. And by
Yeah.
the way, my teacher, Amy Budin, was correct. When I settled my nervous system down, and I didn't even realize how anxious I was. I think most of us don't. When we're that type A person running around doing it all, we don't realize. that we're like, what's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? Because we've actually, what we are doing is numbing ourselves with busyness,
Yeah. Yeah.
accomplishment, and with things outside of ourselves. And we're trying to control everything because we're scared for ourselves, for our children, for our loved ones, for our community. And so when you slow down, it gets really a little scary at first.
Yeah.
Um, but I had some of the most incredible teachers. And over time, I got to learn that meditation doesn't mean that you sit in a pretzel shape for hours on end and that you have no thoughts. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
I got to learn there are a lot of ways in which we can reset our nervous system, some of which are just a 2 minute practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and that once we do, A, realize we need to calm ourselves down, B, have the tools to calm ourselves down, and then C, actually start giving ourselves compassion like we would a loved one
Mm.
and really, really loving ourselves, that foundation allows for us to completely see a different perspective. And
Yeah. I think we're getting caught up in this thinking multitasking as women in midlife. We think the multitasking is serving us.
well,
We
it
think,
it has, and this is the beautiful thing about menopause and midlife for women, is that it has been serving us, and then we get the gift of, oh, wait a minute, actually, I'm going to give you hot flashes. I'm going to give you night sweats. I'm not going to let you sleep. I'm going to increase that anxiety just a little bit, right? All
right.
whatever the symptom is, it's coming your way, let's say. Okay. The reality is, it's just a little nudge around this idea of, hold on a minute, there's going to be another way to be in the world. There is another way.
Mm.
You get to
Wow.
take your wisdom. This is your time to stop doing and start really appreciating and being and finding out who you really authentically are if you haven't already, and
Yeah.
allow love yourself and embrace your own personal joy.
Yeah.
Like, give
Yeah.
yourself permission. You deserve love. You deserve joy. This is not just about survival. We're not
Yeah.
here to survive.
Yeah, and I think that's where we get a little bit mixed up, or we've been programmed that this is the way to do it. And like you said, maybe it did serve us. We have little ones that we need to make sure that they are surviving. So we do need to run and juggle and do whatever we need to do to put that barrier to make sure that they're protected. But as our life changes, if we've done our job right, we have now given our young ones the tools to then fend for themselves.
Absolutely. And I would,
Mm.
and what's interesting about this is that it's funny because we have in our human experience, we are supposed to have all of the feelings and emotions. And this is a great segue into kind of what I would offer more than anything is that you're supposed to feel sad, angry, guilt, everything for about 15 seconds at a time.
Mm.
And
Hmm.
the reason is because there is a purpose in our body. Something changes hormonally in our body around each of those feelings that either prompts us, don't do that again, that wasn't so kind, but move on, done.
Yeah.
Or, that didn't feel good. I need to pivot and do it a little differently. Or run like hell because, or take your kid out of the street, or whatever that is, right? It
Right.
has purpose in that moment. The problem is we get stuck in it.
Yeah.
Then it becomes familiar,
Yeah.
and it unfamiliar is scary to our nervous system. So
Ooh.
even if it isn't something we like doing, even if we're not happy with where we are, our nervous system is like, I know you're not happy with where you are, but here's the thing. I know you can survive
Oh,
that.
yeah.
You can
Hmm.
survive. So I'm going to let's stay in our lane. Let's just stay right here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And meanwhile, our lane has changed. We're on a different path. We're
Yeah.
in a different place in our lives.
I was just going to say that, it just made me think about we're so afraid of change,
But for
but
but for great reason, because again, our nervous system is going, no, don't do that. It's
yes.
scary. But there are practices and ways that we can
Mm.
start to, in just a couple minutes a day, introduce to ourselves trust.
Yeah.
All the magic is in the unknown, and
Yeah.
everything's going to be okay. And I don't need to control everything, and I don't constantly need to be doing. And
Mhm.
this feels unfamiliar, but I'm just going to take a baby step forward around doing it a little differently. And the
Yeah.
whole way, you're going to have to keep settling your nerve. It's like a negotiation with your nervous system.
Yeah. And I think that we can take that lesson, number one, for our own choices and the decisions that we're making, but we can also, it just resonated, with our kids and our parents. We might respond in a certain way to our children that we've responded always. And now we need to change the way that that auto response is.
100%. And when we
Yeah.
make that change, and this is the part I find so magical in my own life I've seen and with my clients, is that you're basically teaching them another way to think.
Mm.
And wouldn't it be beautiful if they don't end up stuck in survival mode? I mean,
Yeah.
there is so many more reasons why their stress levels are higher, given the pace of things, given social media, given, there's just so many reasons why the world they live in is that much more busy and there's that much more information coming in and our brain isn't ready for it. And
Yeah.
so they're actually dealing with more anxiety and more do and more busy, busy, busy and all of that. And so more than ever, wouldn't it be beautiful if we could teach them even earlier on
Yeah.
that allow the emotion. And this is what I would even say with our symptoms, if we're having any, in, our midlife experience, allow it. It's going to pass. It's
Yeah.
really just your body and your system saying to you, hold, pause. I need a minute.
Yeah.
I need some love. I need some reassurance. I need to be told this isn't forever. This is just part of the human experience. I'm going to get through it. I need to,
Yeah.
that brings you back then to neutrality, to acceptance. And from
Yeah.
that place, you can look at it and go, oh, wait, now can I find a different perspective?
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like I've even noticed that for myself, that I've been in a little bit of transition chaos for my own body, not even to mention my kids or parents and what's going on with them, but for my own self, I sit there and think about my life is wonderful, but I'm in this chaos. What is going on with, you know, figuring out my career and figuring out all the transitional changes that have happened in my life in the last 5 years? And it really has been not little bits of the work, but it's been really recently that I've listened to my nervous system.
Yeah.
And I was living my life in my shoulders. And until I was able to really
Yeah.
release,
Oh, you make me want to take a breath when you say that because the breath
oh,
really literally is the vehicle
yeah,
to letting our nervous system know that all is well and everything is okay. The
yeah,
power of our breath is just so
yeah,
incredible. Um, but so true. And it literally does mean talking to your nervous system. People think,
yeah,
I mean having conversations with it, with yourself.
yeah,
Be the crazy person that's talking to yourself because actually our brain, our nervous system believes eventually everything that we say. I mean, neuroscience has shown that our brain's much like a golden retriever. If you throw a ball in a direction, a golden retriever will go to get it. If we throw our mind in a certain direction, our brain, it will go and retrieve that when we
mm,
do it over and over again. But its
yeah,
first instinct is going to be no, let's just stay with what we know, because that
yeah,
is
yeah,
and it also won't an affirmation, just an out of the blue, totally outrageous affirmation isn't going to work either because it's going to go, no, no, hell no, right?
yeah, yeah.
Uh, so we
That,
have to
yeah,
find
that
the
seems too
language.
big. Yeah, that's never going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
We have to find the language like I'm starting to trust, or I'm beginning to trust, or I'm beginning to find trust that everything is happening the way that it needs to.
Mm,
Imagine if more of the time we could trust, if more of the
yeah,
time we could stay in the love lane and not the fear lane,
yeah,
right? And imagine if then that was how we could show up for our children and our parents and our community.
yeah,
And over time, we could be the ones to help them find more trust and love for
yeah.
themselves.
That is what's needed. I feel like once we can really get ourselves in that right alignment, the energy just flows. I mean, think about that. When you have a stressful day or something's going on, your kid could do nothing wrong and you're snapping at them. Your mom could call and you're frustrated with something. And it really keeps going back to this whole story, this whole narrative that we really need to
But the
reshape
narrative really
ourselves.
changed. Yeah,
Yeah.
it really, and it's interesting because you could look at the exact same thing an hour later and feel completely differently. And you
Mm.
have the power to do that by
Yeah.
working the system.
Yeah.
And I feel like midlife is a gift because, we're being given the opportunity to really, if we haven't before, really take a look and make the changes so that we can really thrive and enjoy in our lives. If again,
Yeah.
if we haven't been able to do that before, and I also do believe that the gift is to everyone because when here's the thing, at the foundation of all of this, I think many of us were taught that loving ourselves or caring for ourselves is quote unquote selfish.
Hmm.
And it feels relatively uncomfortable for many people. But that is when you can completely love and accept yourself. In those moments, you are able to completely love and accept everything else.
Mm. Yeah.
And I would even add to that, I just want to step back a little. When you say in those moments when you're stressed, this goes wrong, I snap at my kid, this feels wrong, my parent, this. The truth is, what's happening is that because your nervous system is vibrating at a lower frequency, and this has been proven, there's this wonderful book by David Hawkins, you are calling to yourself. So if you walk into the supermarket and you're having a bad day, someone's
Mm.
cutting you off, or there's a long line at the just things start happening that just add to the bad day. You're
Yeah.
just vibrating here. You can walk into that same supermarket and be like, I'm having a really good day. It's a beautiful day. All is well. And let me tell you something. All of a sudden, the stranger's smiling at you, and the watermelons are fresher or better than they've ever been. I don't know why watermelon. And and that is actually true because science shows us that we are vibrating at a higher frequency and we are a magnet to a higher frequency.
So
It's not,
it's attracting what you're putting out there.
yes, you are actually, that is a true thing. Now, I want to say that we are all human. And so, again, we have the spectrum of emotions. We're meant to, you're not going to stay up at this high vibration 24/7. Nobody does, unless maybe they're sitting like a Buddha in a monk or what, maybe, you know, I,
Mm.
if we're living in the world we're living in, you're going to have it all. And it's going to all feel a lot easier if you just accept in the harder
Yeah.
moment. This is a hard moment. I
Yeah.
need to I need to know I'm not alone. We all have hard moments. And I need to just give myself a lot of love and compassion right now.
Mm.
It will pass.
Yeah. It's needed.
Yeah. And that's
Well,
really so much less suffering if we can do that for ourselves. And then, by the way, for our loved ones.
yeah. Yeah. For ourselves first,
Yes,
and then for our loved ones.
always. We don't even have the
I,
capacity for our loved ones if we don't do it for ourselves. There's
it's so
nothing
true.
the opposite of selfish. It is
Hmm.
essential.
Essential. It's so true. Every time I talk to you, I don't want to stop talking to you. And if we're being really honest, we talked for an hour before we even recorded. So there was so much good stuff that we had talked about before this even. So we are going to have a little mini series with
We
Natalie.
are. We're having our own mini series. I love that. Yeah.
So we will keep coming. But before we do let people go, I do want to make sure that people can get a hold of you, know where to find you. I know you had mentioned you're changing a little bit on your website, things like that. So for now, what's the best way to connect with you?
Email me, which I do have my email in my little title there. The nkiwi3 at Gmail is really the quickest way. I do have a website, nataliekiwi.com. But as Meredith mentioned, I'm in the middle of transforming that a little bit and as well as sort of some of my social media stuff. But mostly I
Change is
am
good. Change is
changed
good.
the weight and it's I've really given myself months to just be and reflect and do some
Mm,
additional training. I should mention that I am certified in teaching mindful self-compassion. I am Reiki certified, which is energy work, and more recently I just got certified in something called Cogno Movement, which is a embraces eye movement, cross body movement and sensory integration in order to reset and rewire the nervous system. So, all of that, along with inner child work, I kind of blend it together when I'm working with small groups or one on one. And yeah, and I'm also just around if somebody needs a chat. Like I
Yeah,
want to say that because for me, it's really about all of us connecting and reminding each other that even in the
yeah,
hardest of times, we can find a little bit of hope, a little bit of gratitude, and that we have these incredible tools to just regulate and calm our nervous system, and we will already start to see things differently.
yeah. And this is why I surround myself with people like you because, I've learned and I've done cognitive movement myself, and I think it really was powerful. We did a session, and then I've taken some of those tools on a regular basis. It really has changed how I'm showing up for myself, and I'm so appreciative of that. But again, back to your chat, like I think that we're just such open people that we realize um, there are people that just need to figure out where they need to go next. And sometimes
Absolutely.
you don't know. And it just takes a conversation with one of us to say, here's who you need to go talk to. So, yeah,
And it could be as simple, by the way, of here's a meditation to listen to get started
yeah,
with. Or here is a book. I started by just listening to some beautiful books. I would walk and
yeah,
listen to them. I was in a really hard time, but and it I just I started seeing that there is another way to look at things. And
yeah,
that's hopeful, you
it
know?
is. It is. We don't want to leave, but we have to because you actually have a meeting after this. So we're on your deadline, my friend.
I know.
I love you. I love you so much.
Love you
Inside
too.
and out, everything in
Feel
between.
also blessed that Meredith is doing this, you guys. And yes, let's schedule another one because I have loved our time together.
Yes, let's do it. But until then, because we're going to wrap up quickly, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for sharing your wisdom and your heart and your soul and all that beautiful energy that I always get in real life and on Zoom with you. So thank you, love you. But until next time, everyone, remember you are not alone in this midlife journey. We are here for you. And here is to more hot flashes, cool chats, and meaningful conversations. Talk to you soon. Bye.